What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to take you through a stupid fast way to edit through Premiere Pro. Alright, so we want to start with our folder structure. I have two different folders here, audio and footage. In the audio, I have the H1 and the H6, and in the footage folder I also have all the different cameras I used. In the audio folder we have the H1, and there we have all the different folders from the things I recorded. And then in the H6, same deal here since I recorded two different recorders that day. In the footage folder, we have all the different cameras I used and all the different memory cards from that day, saying 64GB SD1, 128 SD1, and making sure that they're all properly named. And the reason we do this is because when you import it, the file structure will already be created for you nice and neatly. Next, we'll create a sequences bin, and within there, we're going to create timelines that are all the different ways we can organize the footage. So we have detail, ceremony, because it's a wedding, and all that other jazz. Next, we'll take about 50 clips and we'll throw it into the source monitor, and then we'll just go down into our preps timeline. We'll set an in and out point and use the period button to dump our files that we have chosen down into the timeline. And you also want to make sure that you've set it in your preferences in the keyboard shortcuts under source clip next and previous. And then whenever we need to sync a file, I usually highlight it as red or rose in Premiere Pro, so that way later on I can sync those clips. All right, next we're going to look at how we're going to trim clips with like unwanted footage. So basically we go to the point where we don't want it anymore, and then we'll click W. W will basically trim off the tail of the clip, and we can also do the other way around. If we want to trim off the head of the clip, we're going to use Q. Q trims the head off. Next, we're gonna set an out point at the very end, and we're gonna render our clips out so that way we can watch them play back without any lagging. That's gonna be Shift Enter. Another way of increasing the speed of the playback is by dropping the quality down to say like a quarter. That way your computer doesn't have to process all the pixels, and it'll play back a lot more smoothly depending on your system. All right, now that we kind of understand some of the keyboard shortcuts and how to properly organize some of our footage into different timelines and folders and all that jazz, staying organized, now we're actually going to take all those like little selects and we're going to dwindle them down even further, so that way we could just speed up getting to the good part. All right, now we're going to look at some of the clips here. So say for example I want this clip, I'm going to select it and then press Option up. That way I know exactly that this is the clip I want to use in my main timeline. Next I'll go over to more clips. I don't want that one. This next one, you know what, this is actually pretty good. Let me just raise it up. Now I know exactly which clips I want to use. And then we'll just delete the space for the other clips and bring them over. All right, and now we're just going to select the clips that we want. We're going to copy, never cut these clips. We're going to put it in our main timeline, and then we're going to press Option G to remove all the gaps in between them. And now we have a nice little timeline. Next we're going to press Command M. That's going to bring up the export dialog, and we're going to click H.264 as our format, and then the preset, usually it's just match source, which is fine. Then we'll go down here a little bit more, use maximum render quality, use previews if you have them. That's when we rendered for the green bars. Render at maximum depth. And that is pretty much the gist of it. Now we're going to click the output name, just make sure it's going to the right place. I have it under video, weddings, under my completed weddings, because it's already completed. And then this is the client, and we're just going to create a folder called Final Out. That way you know exactly where we're rendering this final product and we don't lose it on our desktop or whatever the case may be. Then we're just going to name it, whatever the project is, a BS render, and you're pretty much done. All right, well, hopefully you guys found that super helpful. I know I went pretty quick with it, just so you guys aren't kind of like sitting around and having to like watch this entire thing. But hopefully you guys learned a bunch from it. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop me a comment. If you'd like a more in-depth tutorial, or if you'd like it a little bit slower just to kind of digest it a little bit more, holla at me and I'll get you. And thanks for sticking around, guys. I hope you guys have an awesome 2018, and I'll see you later.
We call it cutting. It isn't exactly that. Cutting implies severing something. It really should be called assembly. Montage means the assembly of pieces of film, which moved in rapid succession before the eye create an idea.